Hey everybody. Sorry I'm late. I said 8:30 and I'm late. But I'm here. And as you can tell, I'm not using Be Live tonight. I'm actually using Facebook's own platform. That may change over the course of the month. But we'll see, because they won't even let me use my camera. I have to use the MacBook camera. So whatever. Whatevs, right? So come on into the room. If you're here, say hi. Say, I'm with you, Jay. Say something. Let me make sure that I am live. And while I make sure I'm live, you guys come on in the room. Make sure you grab your favorite beverage. I'm going to share this broadcast. First, make sure I'm live. Welcome into the room, everybody. Come on in. Grab your favorite beverage. I'm live. I see myself. Yay. We're going to have a really good conversation tonight, and I'm not going to put a time limit on it. How about that? Say hi if you're in the room with me. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say hey. Boom. And then I want to share it in my group. So, that's not what I wanted. So, is anyone with me? Say hello. Say hello if you're with me, if you're joining me tonight. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get into this conversation. So much to talk about tonight, you know. Let's see. I'm going to share it with my group. There we go. Done sharing with everything. Hey Devin. Hey nephew. How are you? Thank you for joining me. Hey Adrian, my love. How are you? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me tonight. You guys, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear what I'm saying. Don't worry about video, because video. Hey, you hear me? Video looks a little blurry on my side, so I'm using Facebook's own app, or their own, you know, live. I'm well, Devin. I can't complain. I mean, it does no good to complain, so what's the point? Love you. Love you too, Adrian. I miss talking to you. I don't think we've talked in today. So, without further ado, thank you everyone for joining me. I see some people are coming into the room. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me first introduce myself. I am Jay. I'm the founder and CEO of Matters of My Heart. I am also the creator of my private Facebook group, which is called the I Am Empowerment Movement. And both focus and really deal with and help and assist adult survivors of childhood domestic and sexual abuse. So I am myself a survivor of childhood domestic and sexual abuse, and so that's why I know what I know and I do what I do, because I want to help others heal. There's a whole emotional healing journey that goes along with that. So I'm going to turn my phone off because my phone always rings when I go live. So let me turn that off so that I can really concentrate. I tell you, nothing ever works. And if you know me, you know I don't like technology that well, so I cannot wait to get a tech team that's going to run all this stuff behind the scenes so I can really focus on the content. So I can't wait for that to happen. Like, that's going to happen soon. Yeah, it's been a minute, Adrian. And I'm not liking the Facebook live thing so far because I can't type and show your comments and everything like that. I love that about Be Live. But Be Live wants to charge now, and I think I'm just going to break down and let them charge because I love the platform. The platform was so much better. But we'll see. I'm going to try to stick it out with Facebook Live tonight and see how it goes, and we'll get it from there. So welcome everyone to the broadcast tonight. I wanted to give you a little bit of background of why I chose this subject for the month of July, the ghosts that keep me awake. It's actually a song that I heard. I was at the White House at one point, and there was this a cappella group, and they were singing a song, the ghosts that keep me awake. And of course that resonated so much with me that a year later I decided to host an entire series for the entire month of July, only on weekdays, Monday through Friday, 8:30. Hopefully I'll be, hey Shay, hopefully I can be on time next time. Yeah, remember, yeah, so the idea came from a song I heard a year ago that kind of stuck with me, and I also wrote a blog about it. And let me tell you this: if this series that I'm doing for the month of July, it's really for people who are dealing with emotional pain. Now, if you followed me, if you've seen all my other lives, if you've seen everything that I talk about, I really resonate with adult survivors of childhood sexual and domestic abuse. But for this particular episode, for this particular series that I'm going to do and then I'm going to host, it's for anyone who's in pain. It's for anyone who's dealt with trauma. It's for anyone who's dealing with trauma. It's for anyone who's stuck in that place of hurt. That's what this is for. I am so tired, really emotionally drained from what I see in this world. There's so many people hurting, and yet they're not getting help because they don't know how. They don't know how. And when all you can see is pain and all you can feel is pain, then that's all you can see and feel. Does that make sense? That's real clear. If all you see and all you feel is pain, that's all you know. So you can't even imagine not or living without it. That's why I'm doing this series. And it's not just about my life and all things that I've gone through, but it's really listening to my Facebook friends, reading some of the posts that I see online. I see so much and I hear so much, and it provokes me to want to do something about it. See, I'm not the kind of person that sits back and sees someone hurting and do nothing. Because I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels to hurt. I know how it feels to be in that kind of pain that's numbing, that numbing pain. And you don't know how to move from a place of pain to a place of healing. And so I'm hoping that you would join me this month in talking about some of these ghosts. Like, what keeps you up at night? Really, what plagues you at night? What plagues you to the point where you're disappointed when you have to wake up the next morning, when your eyes open and you was like, shit, I'm alive again. Oh, by the way, I always have to give a disclaimer that my lives and my conversations that I have is for grown folk only. Don't be birthing no babies while you listen to me, because you may hear a curse word come out every now and again. So this is not PG rated. It's J rated. And so you'll learn all about that. Yeah, so I hope you come on in. Thank you for joining me. Everyone who's joining me now, thank you for joining. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you taking time out to listen to me talk and blab on, right? So let's just jump right into it. The ghosts that keep me awake. Sometimes, there are things that happen in our lives that we it's not as easy to shake off. And so tonight's conversation, one of the ghosts, and I named my ghost, you guys. Listen, this month I came more prepared than I was last time I did the month lives. Like, look, I made a list. I made a list of look over here. I made a list of ghosts, things that keep us awake at night, things that plague our spirit and our soul, that keeps us stuck in a place of hurt. I made a list, and this list really came from out of me. This list really came from out of the things that I had gone through, that I had to walk through in my own emotional healing journey. And as I go through the month, there may be some other things that come up with. That's why I'm hoping that we can have this conversation, not just me sharing with you, but you also with your expertise, with your experience, that you can share with me some of the things and some of the ghosts that may keep you awake at night. Okay? Shay, I got to give the disclaimer always. Always got to give a disclaimer when I'm talking. And so the ghost that we're going to talk about tonight's broadcast, is the church. And I think it's so interesting because I'm coming out the gate with some controversial stuff. Like, I love talking about things that people won't necessarily agree with. And a lot of times, in my past live streams that I've done, I talked about me being spiritually abused. And so I didn't go into detail about that spiritual abuse, but I want to say, and it is a real thing, that when people go to church for solace, when they go to church to be healed, when they go to church to find support, they get abused. And some of the abuse is intentional, because, how many of you know that the devil is in the church too? He sits on the pew too. He preaches from the pulpit too. Yeah, the devil is in the church too. So sometimes we find ourselves in a church or in a religious institution where they're not serving us in an authentic way. I'll say it like that. And so I went to this church before. I went to actually a couple of churches where one of the pastors called me damaged goods. If you check out my website, jdauthor.com, I wish I could type it in so you can see it. That's my little plug-in right there, that I wrote a book. And the title of my first fiction book was called Damaged Goods. It was inspired by that pastor who spiritually abused me. He told me that I was a Jezebel. He told me that I would never amount to anything. He told me that I was sent to his church. Get this. I was sent there to distract the men. Now, I was in my early 20s at the time. And so I looked a lot better than I do now. Right now, I look like I'm 40. No, I don't. Black don't crack. But anyway, I was younger. I was a single parent. And so in the church, that's kind of frowned upon, single parenting. That's kind of frowned upon if you have a child out of wedlock. And so, obviously, what they tell you is that something's wrong with you because you had a child out of wedlock, and now here you are in the church trying to get your life together. Well, you know. So anyway, long story short, I was spiritually abused. And before that happened, I don't know if you guys know my story, but I said earlier in the broadcast that I'm a survivor of childhood abuse. So when I was 5 to 9, I was sexually raped by my uncle, my then uncle. And then I was physically abused by my then stepfather in my teens. So I grew up my entire life fighting off men. My entire life fighting off men. And so my passion really today stems from all of the stuff that I'd gone through as a kid, as a teenager, and as a young adult. And so my emotional healing journey started actually when I had to come to grips with where my life is now. Okay, now I'm going on 30. I'm in all of this pain. Is the rest of my life going to be like this? I can't imagine so. But one of the things that people in the church, the same church that I went to, that took advantage of my pain, took advantage of things that had happened to me, one of the things that they used to say to me all the time is let go and let God. So whenever I went up for prayer, now Jay in her 20s was so broken. She was so hurt. And she didn't know at that time where all this pain came from. She just felt like she was cursed. She felt like she would never, ever be happy. She felt like she would never, ever find someone to love her for who she really was. Because if they really knew who she really was, they would take off running for the hills. Because they couldn't handle her. This was in my 20s, so I went to church and I felt, you know how you go to Christ in crisis, right? When you finally reach rock bottom, you start looking for the church. So I looked for a church. I searched for a church. And actually, this church kind of found me. And, yeah. Every time I went up for prayer, I heard two things. One, they would always quote the scripture that, what was that scripture? The wages of sin is death. They would always quote that scripture to me. And then the second thing that they would say is, you need to let go and let God. And so one of the things, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation tonight, is one of the things that irritate the hell out of me about church folks is cliches. That cliche, let go and let God. Well, tell me, how does that work? Like, seriously, how does that work? How do you tell people who have been in a kind of pain that is indescribable, oh, you just need to let go and let God? And they say that and then they walk the hell away. That's why I titled it tonight, Let Go and Let God with No Instructions. Right? I'm telling you, and how many times have you heard that? You, everyone that's just joining me tonight, how many times have you heard let go and let God? How many times have you even said it? I mean, I was a part of this church and I was engraved in this church so much that I even began to say it. Cliches, I surrender all. Let go and let God, that's the favorite one. What other cliches do they have in the church? These cliches have meaning. Like the word tells us that that there's power, that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. So what we speak, we can either speak life into someone or we can speak death into them with that same tongue. And so when we say to someone, let go and let God, and then we leave them in that space of confusion, what the hell does that mean? Does that mean I'm just supposed to give it all to God and I sit back and do nothing? Because the Bible also says faith without works is dead. So what do you mean when you say, let go and let God? I'm glad I'm talking about this. I'm glad I'm talking about this tonight, because what I want, the purpose of tonight is for us to really break down some of these cliches that the church tell us with no explanations. It sounds good. It rhymes. But how the hell is that going to get me out of my pain? How is that going to get me out of the place that I'm in? How is that going to help me feed my family when I don't have the money to feed my family? Are these cliches really going to help me deal with the real ish in life when they're about to come turn off my lights because I don't have the money to pay the bill? Let go and let God. Am I supposed to walk around my living room and say, let go and let God, and hope that somehow BG&E or whoever your electric company believes in God and say, okay, well, since you believe in God, I'm going to let your lights stay on, and you don't have to pay that $200 and some bill this month? How does that work? Sorry, I get a little passionate when I talk about this because it irritates me when we use these nice, fancy, pretty words. And for someone like myself, who's in a world of pain, that does not get me out of my situation. That doesn't help me at all. What it does, it forces me to look for it myself. And if I have to look for help myself, I'm going to go to the whiskey bottle. I'm going to go to the pill bottle. I'm going to go to suicide attempt to take myself out of here because I don't want to live anymore. I'm going to go to any little thing that's going to numb this pain. Because where I went for help wasn't equipped to help me. Good God Almighty. Ooh. That was good to me, y'all. I get excited, sorry. I get excited. That was good to me. The one that I went to for help because I could not help myself. I couldn't fix me. The one place that was supposed to fix me, according to the Bible, is the church. And they come to me with let go and let God. They come to me with Jesus can work it out. How you going to pay your rent? All your money spent. Jesus going to work it out? How? How is Jesus going to work it out? Don't sing songs to me that sound good and make me feel good, but then when church is over, I go home and I'm crying because it ain't worked out. You got to give me more. You got to give me more than that. I deserve more than that. So I got some instructions for y'all tonight. Yeah, I wrote them down. See, I told you I came prepared. Look, paper came out. I came prepared tonight. I ain't playing no games. Listen, it is time out to be stuck. It is time out. And what I'm sharing with you is not something that I heard a preacher say. It's not something I heard my mama say. It's not something I heard a stranger say. It is something that Jay had to walk through her damn self. Yeah, this stuff is real. This hurt is real. It will cause you and it will put you in a place where you don't trust anybody. It will isolate you. It will cause you to think about ending your own life because you cannot take the pain anymore. Let me tell you, I work on a sexual assault hotline. And I was on a chat with someone, and the first thing they said is, I can't take this pain anymore. I can't do it. I went to this place, I went to that place, I went to this hospital, I went to that therapist, and they don't understand me, and and I'm just tired. I can't do it. I'm ready to, I don't even want to live anymore. Can I tell you that I've been there and I've done that? 3 times I attempted suicide. I can't even tell you how many times I felt like God didn't hear my prayers. I can't even tell you how many times I felt like I was cursed and my family was cursed because of all the things that we've gone through. I can't even tell you. But then when I go to someone looking and searching for help, and they say to me, oh, Jesus can work it out. Trust God. Believe in him. Yeah. How? How? Because, see, you're not talking to someone who's just dealing with a bill that they can't pay, or an unruly child, or, a job that's treating them like ish and looking over them for promotions. Like, that ain't who you're dealing with right now. You're dealing with someone who was sexually molested. You're dealing with someone whose innocence was stolen from her before she even had innocence, before she even knew she was innocent. You're talking to someone who was in a relationship with someone who stripped her of her own identity, who put her down every chance they got, who used her past against her. You're talking to someone who's dealing with some level of pain that you can't even spell. The ghosts that keep you awake at night. That's why we internalize it, because we feel like no one understands what the hell we're going through. When we try to explain it to them and they come back with us with some let go and let God, you don't get what I'm coming from. Let me find somebody else. Let me find something else. Maybe it's in the bottle, the bottom of this whiskey bottle. Pretend it's whiskey. Pretend this is like gin. It's white, like it's gin or vodka or something. Let me see if I can numb my own pain. Now I'm going into my self-coping mechanisms now. Now I'm going into, how am I going to fix myself? Because I tried everything else, and I tried other people, and they couldn't help me. So let me try to help myself. I'm so sorry. Oh, you guys are having trouble hearing me and seeing me. My sister said, I wish I can put her comment on the screen. My sister said, this is my oldest sister. I love her. I love her to death. She said, we have to remember that church is not the building. Church is the people that is serving God. Woo! When you can get in your mind, and this is to people who are hurting, who are broken, who are disgusted with themselves. I'm talking to you. If you can get it into your mind that you are the church, that's when your freedom begins. That's when you're able to walk this journey of emotional healing. When you can see yourself without the pain, because you've been looking at this pain for such a long time, that's all you see, that's all you know. But when you can get it in your mind that you are the church and that you have the power within you to release the pain, that's when you're free. Starts with the mind. Because the mind is the thing that keeps reminding us The mind is the thing that keeps telling us of everything that happened to us. That's on the forefront of our mind. Let go and let God. Now let me first define ghosts, because I got a little ahead of myself. I got a little excited, y'all. And I was telling you where the idea of the ghosts that keep me awake came from. And so I was supposed to define ghosts for you. And if I just looked at my notes, I would have seen that. But it ain't too late. So I'm going to define ghost. I looked it up, and it says the ghost is the spirit of a dead person that hunts the living. That's what a ghost is. The spirit of a dead person that hunts the living. I can preach from that, y'all. I'm not even a minister, but sometimes I wish I was a preacher sometimes, just because I want to just like go to town in on some of this stuff. Like that right there, that dead thing that keeps haunting me when I'm trying to go to sleep. That depression, we're going to talk about that this month. That anxiety, panic attacks, we're going to talk about that this month. Doubt of who I am, we're going to talk about that this month. Suicide, suicidal ideation. That means that you think about killing yourself. You think about harming yourself. What about cutting? What about physical cutting and emotional cutting? These are ghosts that keep me awake. These are things that I run to numb me so that I won't feel, or I don't have to face the pain. You know, when I hold it on the inside and not share it with anybody. These inner demons that I have on the inside that nobody knows. We're going to talk about that this month. But tonight we're talking about let go and let God with no instructions. So let me give you some instructions real quick, because I've been on for like half an hour already. I'm getting excited. I see people are getting kicked out, in and out of the group. I'm so sorry for all of that. I may have to go back to Be Live. I don't know. We're going to figure this thing out. But I'm not leaving, and I'm not going to quit just because I'm having technical difficulties. Like, seriously, I'm not going to quit. I got a word, and I got to get this word out. So I got some instructions for you guys tonight. Let's start with let go. And I'm dealing with the cliche, the church cliche, let go and let God, if you're just joining me. If you're just hopping back on, I'm dealing with the cliche, let go and let God. So tonight I have instructions, because you know, people tell you let go and let God, then they walk the hell away, but they don't really tell you what does that mean. So let go. First thing of letting go. Now remember, we're talking about anyone who's dealing with emotional pain. However that emotional pain came for you. For me, it came in the form of sexual abuse. For me, it came in the form of domestic violence. For me, it came in the form of spiritual and emotional abuse. For me, it came in the form of divorce. It came in the form of transitioning from job to no job to job to entrepreneurship. For me, it came in so many different forms. For me, it came in the form of my child neglecting me, walking away. So however your emotional pain came to you, how do you let go of that emotional pain? First step. Admitting to yourself that it actually happened. That's sort of like, now that I think about it, and I didn't think about this before I wrote it down. I really didn't. But it just came to me, like, that's one of the first things they do in like an Alcohol Anonymous group. They tell you first that you have to accept the fact or admit that you're an alcoholic. So same thing is, you have to admit that you're in pain. A lot of people, especially in the African American community, we internalize pain so deeply. Like we just let it stack up and stack up and stack up and stack up and don't talk about it and don't tell anybody that what you said hurt my feelings. But I'm just going to brush it off. Anybody say they're just going to, yeah, right. No, because every time you see that person, you're going to remember what they said to you, and then you're going to feel that thing again. So you haven't been healed from it. So, number one, to letting go, admitting that it happened. That may be the hardest step. Because now comes with, well, why did it happen? And why me? What did I do to deserve it? Now all these questions are coming. We're not dealing with questions tonight. We're dealing with action, things that you can implement yourself, things that you can do. Let go. One, admit. Number two, take baby steps to release it. Don't set, and I was talking to my girlfriend tonight, Shay. Don't set your expectations so high that they're unrealistic. We're going to talk about that too this month. We're going to talk about unrealistic expectations. But when you're talking about letting go of something that you've been holding on to for years, for some of us, when you're talking about releasing it and you're at the place now where you're ready to release it, it's not that easy. So don't set your expectations so high to think that, okay, I released it. It's gone. I let go and I trust God and I give it to Him. It ain't that easy, boo. It's a process. It's a process. So you got to be built for this. And you are. You have what you need inside of you, the strength that you need inside of you to release it. You can release it in several different ways. One of the ways that my way that I found that helps me release my pain is crying. Most people think crying is a sign of weakness, so they don't do it, especially men. But let me tell you something. There is nothing more freeing than crying. I mean those ugly cries. I've had a lot of those. I've had a lot of ugly cries. Uncontrollable, like uncontrollable cries. I'm releasing it. I'm letting that pain go. I'm allowing the pain. First, I'm acknowledging that it's pain. And then I'm giving it permission to be released. Another form of release for me that I love is journaling or writing. Whatever's up here, I put it on a piece of paper so that it's no longer stuck here. And when I begin to read it, I get to see it in a different way. That makes sense? I get to see it in a way that kind of brings a little clarity. But it's out of here and it's here. So I'm journaling. I'm writing. Another way is whatever makes you feel, whatever brings enjoyment to you, such as art. Most people like to draw, color, singing, dancing, playing an instrument. A lot of these artists, especially Mary J. Blige, she's like my favorite one, Mary J. Blige, they write what they go through. A lot of comic students too. They write a lot of things that they go through in their performance. And that's their way of releasing that pain that they've gone through. Again, they're talking about it. Everything that I'm saying right now is the essence of talking about it, of releasing it. That's how you let go. What else do I have written out here? Meditation. Meditation is hard, y'all. Meditation is hard if you're in the beginning of your journey because your mind is so overwhelmed with the thought of everything that happened. And so it's really hard to focus on meditation. It really takes, it's an art, and it takes practice. So I would always recommend, if you've never meditated before, always connect with someone who does it on a regular basis. I recommend Deepak, because, you know, he's like the meditation guru around here. But, you know, you can go onto YouTube and look up Deepak meditation techniques. He talks about what meditation is and how you can do it. And then start off like with, 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there, and then increase it as time goes on. But it's really training your mind to think differently, to think without the pain. It's really retraining your mind. That's what meditation is. Focusing on the present moment and not the past. Meditation is a good one, but it took me some years to get meditation. Another one that is a good way of release is exercise. You won't find Jay running nowhere. You won't find her doing any exercise, because I don't do the exercise thing, but I do recommend it. I do recommend it, and a lot of doctors recommend it too, that's another way to release stress. Exercise. That's another way of letting go. Okay. That's release. Any questions so far? Anybody still with me? Did I lose everyone? Stupid Facebook. I can't call, maybe because I'm calling Facebook like stupid, they're like messing up my whole broadcast right now, because they don't like for me to call them that. But listen, Facebook, I need you to get it together. What do you do when you can't stop bawling? Are you, Susan, you're talking about crying? What do you do when you can't stop bawling? You don't stop bawling. You keep bawling. If you're talking about crying, like an uncontrollable cry, and you can't stop it, you continue to cry until there's no more cry left in you, because it's coming out. It's being released. That pain is being released. And trust me, when you're done bawling, because I've cried on my bathroom floor, and my bedroom floor, and my kitchen. I've cried so many different places. But let it out. Don't try to, in your mind, say, I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to force myself to stop crying. Because what you're doing is you're trying to keep the pain inside when the pain is fighting to get out. That's the release. Bawl, honey. I've cried so much that I had no more tears left. I had no more snot left in me. But when I got up off that floor, my God, the release that I felt, the pressure that was no longer on my shoulders, because I cried that thing out. So don't stop bawling. Bawl until you can't bawl no more. Stop looking at the clock. Stop trying to control it. Let that sucker go. This is part of the healing process of releasing the pain. Okay. Any more questions? Just put them in the comments, and I'll answer them as I go. Let me see. I'm on so many different groups right now, but I can't check your comments. Susan says, trying to keep others from questioning me. Who give a damn? Who give a damn what everybody else say? They're not on this journey with you. They're not walking this journey with you. Who give a damn? Be free at this moment, Susan. Be free from the opinions of others. Tell them go to hell. Go play in traffic. Who cares? You have to be protective of your emotional healing journey. We're going to talk about that too this month. We're going to talk about your environment. We're going to talk about the people that you surround yourself with. As a matter of fact, let God. The second part of let go and let God. one of the ways that you can let God. Remember, God is not going to force himself upon us. So we allow him and we invite him in. Once that I did all that bawling and crying it out, I'm empty. And so God loves an empty vessel. So when I get up off that floor or pull myself together after all that bawling and crying and snotting and looking a hot mess, now it happens where it happens. I don't care who sees. This is my life. This is depending on whether I can live or die. And what's the alternative? Stay in pain? That's not an alternative for me. Find a place. Susan, you and I can talk offline, but there is a place. There is somewhere you can go. Listen, I worked in an office filled with people. And when it hit me to cry, I would go to the bathroom. If they heard me, they heard me. I don't care. I would go to my car. I would find a closet somewhere. I would go to church. This is my favorite. This is what I really use church for. I would go to church to cry because everybody in church was crying anyway. So they didn't have to know why I was crying. So I'm just surrounding myself with people who crying. I'm still releasing it. So the second part of let go and let God. Once you learn to release the pain in some of the ways that I talked about earlier, if you missed it, catch the replay. The second part of that let go is let God. And once you learn to release it, now you have space for God to come in and do what he does so greatly. And that is put you back together again. That is to take all of your broken pieces and put you back together again. He does it so magnificently. Like he's it with it. Like God knows exactly what we need. So it's a testament of the faith that we have in him. It's a testament of the trust that we have in him. It's all of those things. It's prayer. It's a support group. Now let's talk about the support group for a minute. You got to surround yourself when you're in a place where you're challenged in your faith, because I've been there. I asked God so many times, why did this happen to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Why nothing good ever happened to me? I question God on so many different things. But one thing I've always had is a support group. And I had to surround myself with people whose faith was on a different level than mine. I had people praying for me when I didn't have the strength or the capacity to pray for myself. And I'm not talking about those people that come to your house and they put oil all over your head and make you all oily looking, and then they put hands on you, and then they doing all this. That's not the type of praying I'm talking about. I'm talking about those who you probably haven't even talked to in such a while, but you know you're on that prayer list. You know that every time they wake up in the morning, when they calling out names to God, your name is on that list. I had people in the wings praying for me when I didn't even believe that God existed anymore. I had people praying for me. They were on my side. They cared more about my soul than about my feelings. So surround yourself with people who have the faith that's a little bit stronger than yours, because they're the ones that's going to pull you up out of that pit. They're the ones that's going to help you. And I'm talking about people that speaks with authority. You can't be in this game and be weak. You can't be weak in this game. So you got to come with it. You got to come with authority, because the word of God is authority all by itself. But when you speak it with authority, remember I said earlier that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. When you begin to speak the word of God over your situation, I know for a fact things begin to change. But when you're filled and you're covered in pain, you don't know that. Like, none of that makes sense to you. Like what I'm saying right now, I might as well be speaking Japanese. When you're stuck in pain, when you're stuck in hurt, when you're stuck in stuck, when you're stuck in the stuck of being stuck, none of this makes sense to you. So you connect with someone who has the power and the authority, who has been on the journey that you're on, who is continuing on the journey that you're on, but they're in front of you. So all you have to do is hold on to that coattail and let them carry you. The Bible says that the strong bears the infirmities of the weak. So in my journey where I am now, I'm able to carry a couple of folks. But where I'm weak, I got some people carrying me too. Oh, you better catch that. That's good right there. See, where I'm unable to carry you, I got people carrying me. So we're all in this journey together, and we're all moving forward together. You surround yourself with people of authority who know and believe that God is going to do what he's going to do. Because his word cannot return void. His word cannot go out and return void. It's going to accomplish what it said it was going to accomplish. But when you're in pain, it's hard to believe that, because you've been dealing with this stuff like forever. Like that's all you know. Connect with someone who has authority. Connect with someone who can speak to that pain and cause it to come out. Let go and let God. With instructions. Hello. It's time out for us to say that all these, nice, pretty little, phrases, cliches that we say, and we leave people stuck. You won't be stuck on my train. No, there is no stuck here. Because I've been there. It sucks. I didn't like it. I did something about it. And the first thing I did is I connected with people who believed for me, because I didn't believe. I knew I didn't believe. I felt that I was cursed. So I had to surround myself with people who could pour into me what was already in me. I just needed to see it for myself. But I couldn't see it unless I let it go. And it took me a minute to let it go. There were lots of nights, Susan, lots of nights that I was bawling. Lots of many days that I'm journaling my butt off. Like I'm writing. I have a blog now. Started a whole blog site. I released myself. I freed myself from the opinion of what other people thought of me, because none of them walked in my shoes. None of them felt the pain that I was feeling. None of them could even relate to it. So who give a damn what they thought? I didn't. Listen, I was on a mission to be healed. I was on a mission to not feel pain anymore like that. I'm not saying that you're never going to feel pain again. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're going to live this happy life, this perfected life. Oh, we're going to talk about perfection too this month. Oh, that's going to be my favorite. Because we look at life as how it's supposed to be. This perfect life. That everything is going well. Great job, great husband or great wife. Children don't act up. They do what they're supposed to do, get all A's. And like we really do think that life is supposed to be perfect and without any challenges. Even the Bible tells us that we're going to go through challenges in this life. But the encouragement is we're not alone. So that's all I'm going to say tonight, because I can go on and on and on. I can go on and on and on about this. I hope that I said something that made sense to you tonight. I even hope that I said something that offended you, because I'm not trying to make friends. I'm trying to promote, invoke healing. That's what this month is about. This month is really, what does healing look like? And it's really facing that ghost that won't let me go to sleep at night. And sometimes that ghost is us. Sometimes we're our own ghost. I'm going to talk about that this month too. So, let me end this by reintroducing myself again. I'm Jay. I am the founder and CEO of Matters of My Heart, which is an emotional support group for adult survivors of childhood domestic and sexual abuse. I am also the creator of the I Am Empowerment Movement. And in that group, which is a private Facebook group, it's also for adult survivors of childhood abuse. It's also for victim advocates and service providers, licensed psychologists. Also, in that group that we have in that group, other victim advocates, because we're all here to help one another. And so in this group, it's about support, it's about solutions, and it's about results. You will not leave the way that you join the group if you implement the strategies and the tools and the things that I share with you from my heart, from my own experience, from my own research. You won't leave the same. The goal of the I Am Empowerment Movement is to be emotionally healed. I speak that. And so thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you're just joining, I am leaving now because I've been on for almost an hour. But I wanted to leave you with this. There are a lot of things that keep us awake at night. There are a lot of ghosts. A lot. We're going to talk about those ghosts this whole month. Hey, Meek. I was actually just talking about you earlier in a good way. One of my support team, my biggest support team, when I was talking about praying, someone that prays for you. This prayer powerhouse right here, that's my Meek. Honey, don't nothing go on when she praying. And she also now, hey, Meek, don't you now teach about prayer? Put a link in the thread about your prayer. I think it's a webinar or something like that. She does something. She teaches something on prayer. I know that much. But I've been in her prayers. I've been a result of, listen, y'all looking at a result of her prayers. This lady's a prayer powerhouse, but she teaches you how to pray. And as I was saying earlier, it's not about a whole bunch of women coming over to your house and slapping oil all over your head and speaking ha sha na 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 and all of that kind of stuff. And see, that's the old, way of praying. But Meek has a way. 4 simple prayers. Meek actually taught me how to pray to God, which is simply having a conversation with him. And I didn't have to use big fancy words. I didn't have to slather out all over the floor and lay out and all this kind of stuff that you've been taught to do. It ain't that deep. Like, it really is simple. So if you don't know Jamika Jones Setzer, get to know her. You would want her in your life, especially if you're dealing with emotional pain, especially if you're dealing with hurt, if you're stuck in that world of darkness, of brokenness. You would want to get to know me. So I'm ending this tonight because I'm tired and it's time for me to go to bed. Tomorrow night, I'm probably going to be on BeLive again because I didn't like the way Facebook treated me tonight. They wouldn't let me use my camera and all of that kind of stuff. They kept kicking people in and out of the broadcast. We ain't got time for that. Listen, we got some healing that got to take place this month. In the month of July, we need healing. We speak healing. And so we need this technology to work. Facebook, get it together. I'm going over to BeLive. I will dump you in a minute. Listen, I don't play no games. I don't stick around. If you don't act right, I'm gone. Get it together. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you missed the whole hour, go back and watch it. I said some funny things too, but I really did talk about let go and let God with no instructions. Please listen to the replay. Get some instructions on what does it mean to let go and let God. How do I do that? It's in the replay. I'll leave it up for a couple of days for you to go back and listen to it. And as a bonus, I forgot what my bonus was. In October, you guys, really excited about this. In October, I'm opening my very first group coaching program. It's for emotional healing. So all of the things that I'm talking about this month, I'm going to be going even deeper in a group coaching program. I'm opening it for the first time in October. October 9th will be the first day. It's going to be a 4-week program, and it's going to cost $98 for 4 weeks, emotional healing. So I'll share more about that as the month go on, but just to let you know that there's help out there if you want it and if you're willing to do the work. If you're willing to do the work. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night where we talk about another ghost. I have 21 of them. So I don't know which one I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'll figure it out. But even on the 4th of July, I'm going to be here 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time talking about the ghosts that keep me awake. It's time for us to get some sleep and rest peacefully. So love you guys. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. And until tomorrow night, good night. Bye.